Lighting techniques in the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. This video analyzes the use of light as a means of expression in the films, as it impacts the audience on both informative and emotional levels. I will demonstrate how light creates an intense connection with the evolving story. Hello everybody and welcome. I am Philip, and I will guide you through this visual examination of the conceptual lighting techniques used in the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. I will show you how creators consider the use of light to support and develop the audience's connections to the story to create powerful cinematic experience. Light creates intense atmospheres. The lighting conditions are either connected or they contrast with one another. They push the story forward, provide information, define characters, and evoke emotions throughout the course of narrative. The characters are striving for a seemingly unreachable goal, with obstacles constantly growing in their path. Physically exhausted, they are also mentally drained. This is precisely why the lighting creates intense atmospheres and behaves as it does. I have chosen several scenes that I present to you chronologically. However, I recommend comparing those scenes with one another, not in a given order, but in an arbitrary fashion. This way, your comparison will be more effective. The story begins in the Shire. This place, where hobbits live, represents an ideal space for living, where nothing poses a threat. The eternal struggle between good and evil is the underlying notion forming the Shire. For the evil to be defeated, the good must rise to the challenge. Throughout the Shire scenes, the light consistently creates positive and calm atmosphere. The bright morning sunlight filters through the land, turning foliage and grass to gold. The warm light and natural colors of the environment contribute to a lively and happy mood. These same expressions of light also characterize the fragility of the hobbit's way of life, a realization that dawns as the story unfolds. The overall goodness of the Shire is vividly portrayed in the peaceful setting. Hobbits lead calm and carefree lives, unconcerned about the dangers beyond their borders. However, with Gandalf's help, Frodo comes to realize that this idyllic existence is at risk if he ignores the looming threat. Having that in mind, he makes a vital decision. The interior of Bag End is depicted in warm, earthly colors and lit softly with daylight. The absence of more significant shadows contributes to a pleasant and homely atmosphere, which reflects in Bilbo's and Gandalf's satisfied faces. The light in this scene is subtle and natural, and does not draw attention to itself. In the scene where Gandalf considers the possibility that Frodo's ring might be the One Ring, the opening shots of the scene featuring Frodo are bathed in the darkness and makes the audience aware of something. The light suggests that there might be evil present. At the beginning of the scene, the moonlight appears natural, but as the atmosphere intensifies, the lighting becomes increasingly unnatural. You can observe that Frodo's face is underlit, and there are shadows that don't align with the natural direction of moonlight from the window. These unnatural shadows deform his face, creating a sense of uncertainty in the audience. Additionally, there is no backlight on Frodo, causing him to blend in the darkness behind him. Another, yet more significant difference from positive and calm atmospheres emerge when evil comes to the Shire. The light becomes the dominant visual expression, distinguishing it from the previous scene with Bilbo and Gandalf. When the Nazgul reveals himself to the fleeing hobbits, he is shrouded in the dark silhouette due to the strong backlighting. This light is stylized and does not go in a natural direction. It emanates from behind and beneath the rider, rather than from above as the moon would typically cast the light. This expression instills uncertainty within us and influences our subconscious to think that something is wrong here, something monstrous even. In all these scenes you can see the contrast between natural and stylized light. This immersive connection to the narrative is heightened by the shifting quality of lighting, which reflects the evolving mood and tension. The ring wraith leaves behind a veil of mystery and a profound feeling of danger for both hobbits and the audience. The heavily stylized darkness relentlessly comforts the audience with evil approaching. And now we proceed to Isengard, where the lighting is even more stylized, in comparison with the scene in the Shire with the Nazgul. Scenes set in Isengard follow Gandalf's realization that evil has come, though it is partially hidden for a short while. Saruman pretends to remain on the side of good, but soon afterwards he proclaims scornfully that even Gandalf must join with evil. Before Saruman's true intentions are revealed, the lighting and colors in the very first shot of the interior of Isengard already suggest that Saruman's character is headed toward one thing: treason. At first glance, the daylight appears quite normal, but the odd direction of light coming through the small windows is quite striking. The rays of light behind Saruman move upwards, which is entirely unrealistic and misleading. This contrast highlights Saruman's deceitful and treacherous nature, as the wrong direction of light signals that something is amiss. Saruman's true intentions begin to unravel. Both characters are juxtaposed. The stark division between them is emphasized. The dark or even black color of the environment alongside the blue and cold mood of the scene amplify discomfort. The light in the scene significantly illustrates Saruman's intentions and the following direction of the narrative. In this close-up shot of Saruman, the light reveals his intentions once again. The evil wizard's eyes are illuminated by bright, tiny spotlights or sparks, which seems to pierce Gandalf with their hungry gaze. There is emptiness in Saruman's eyes, devoid of anything but evil. When Lurtz confronts his master, the overall feeling of the scene becomes deeply disturbing. Once again, light adds to our discomfort. A strong stream of light shines directly on Lurtz's face, creating an intense and unsettling atmosphere reminiscent of an interrogation. The direction of light is unusual, casting harsh shadows on his deformed features. The bluish hue meant to represent the moonlight is distorted into a more sinister bright blue tone when mixed with the yellow light from the fire lamps. Unlike the unfamiliar warmth of the red or orange firelight, the strange yellow hue combined with the bluish tint creates an unfavorable impression. Contrasting this with the natural blue moonlight as seen in the previous scenes, the falseness of Saruman's treacherous character becomes apparent. Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas and Gandalf are approaching Medusold, the Golden Hall, where Saruman's power has nearly shattered King Theoden's will and spirit. The light reflects the poisoned and dying land under Saruman's influence. Grima Wormtongue obeys will of his true master. In the scene where Grima, with his lies, banishes Eomer from the kingdom, the use of shadow conveys the unfolding events. Rohan stands on the brink of collapse. Grima is cloaked in black and enveloped in impenetrable shadows, reflecting his dark intentions. He brings with him a palpable sense of darkness, evoking a feeling of coldness, repulsion, mirroring the sinister nature of Saruman. If Gandalf hadn't intervened in time, darkness would have consumed Éomer and Éowyn as well. The desaturation of colors plays a significant role in setting the tone. The draining of life from the image is evident, leaving behind only grey and stealthy greenish tones. However, when Gandalf dispels Saruman's power and saves Theoden and his kingdom, life returns to the land. The strong stream of white daylight that fills the hall dispels the shadows and rejuvenates the colors, transforming the mood of the scene entirely. Light and color flood back into the scene, symbolizing the restoration of hope and vitality. I can contrast two similar shots, one shrouded in darkness and the other vibrant with life. The saturated colors are replaced by warm, natural tones. A trusted counselor now stands beside the king, symbolized by pleasant earthy and red colors, replacing the unpleasant greenish and grey hues. Mordor. Frodo and Sam are gradually approaching both physical and mental exhaustion. With each step, they get closer to the goal, but also closer to complete depletion. Initially, they head towards the dead city of Minas Morgul. This city and its surroundings are lifeless and soaked in poison. The immense structure is illuminated by a greenish, toxic light. This evil atmosphere is further enhanced by an underlighting that creates unnatural shadows, reminiscent of those seen on Frodo's face in Bag End, or when the hobbits first confronted the Nazgul. In Shelob's Lair, the focus shifts from delighting the character to highlighting the environment, visually merging Frodo into the scene. The key light comes from the depth of the lair, creating a backlight on Frodo's silhouette, but primarily emphasizing the wet walls covered in spider's web. Frodo appears lost, drained by the darkness. Adding to this atmosphere is a subtle yet significant fill light emanating from the ground onto Frodo's face. This underlighting creates a strange claustrophobic feeling, as if a deep abyss lies beneath his feet from which this light emerges. One misstep could be deadly. Don't look down. There is only death. When Frodo is kept captive in the Tower of Cirith Ungol, the aggressive color palette enhances the hopeless situation. The orcs have won. Once again, there is a greenish tone, but this time it is combined with the aggressive red from the fire lamps. The unforgiving colors characterize the menace that pervades all of Mordor. Here I want to point out the differences in the colors of fires in various scenes depending on context and emotion. Here the fires are red, aggressive like overall feeling of the scene. In the Tower of Orthanc, when Saruman is creating lurts, the fires are yellowish, evoking feelings of threat, danger and falseness. In the scene where Gimli and Legolas have a drinking game, the atmosphere is cozy, happy and lively. The light from torches, candles and the fireplace is warm orange and natural. These variations in color not only enhance the mood but also subtly guide the viewer's emotions, amplifying the tension or warmth of each moment. The careful use of firelight hues becomes a storytelling tool, reflecting the underlying tone of the scenes. In the very heart of Mordor, where all hope is gone, there is also no life. The environment is dead, filled with uncertainty and greyness in the wasted land. Sam and Frodo are now at the end of their journey and their strength. Light intensifies their emotions and the audience's. It does not reveal anything, but only indefinitely covers everything. The last spark of hope is fading or has faded away. But there is still a hint of unspoiled light, and some realize this. It is a hope in the nothingness. This brief moment affects the audience's perception of the whole scene. The emerging light brings the last bit of hope, the last bit of strength to carry on, and only then can light overcome darkness. To wrap things up, I've included miniatures of the shots used throughout this video. These visual shifts mirror the characters' journeys, deepening the emotional impact as the story goes on. You can observe how the light and color evolve with the ongoing narrative in each new scene and its environments. This trilogy transitions from colorful and bright to dead and dark, creating a powerful cinematic experience. If you found this analysis interesting, or if you disagree with my thoughts, I invite you to share your own perspectives in the comments below, where we can have a discussion. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Ellen, Sila, Lumen, Momenti Elvo.